Hi, I'm Larry,
I'm Gret.
I'm Christy.
and welcome to Dangerous Drag Queens and Other Deviants.
A podcast about the outrageous and sometimes dark world of drag, gender, and sexual identity, and how communities facing stigmatization are making a positive impact just by living their lives out loud.
Brought to you by Virtual Arts.
Hello, my name is Larry.
I'm Gret.
And I'm Christy. Welcome back to Dangerous Drag Queens and Other Deviants.
Today we have a wonderful person from London whose name is Owain Davies, who I did think was Owain Davies, but it's Owain Davis or something along those lines. And he will tell us that when he comes on because he's in the waiting room and he's a lovely soul who I met this summer in Provincetown. Hello there, Owain. How are you?
Hello, Larry. I'm very well, thank you. How are you today?
Doing wonderfully. And you're in jolly old England, right?
I am. I'm on a slightly different timeline to you. This is the future. I'm talking to you from the future. And it's bleak. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, ouch.
If only you could have seen the future for us a few months ago.
I know.
So it's so good to see you today. And I had the opportunity this summer to see your show, Grinder Help Desk.
Grinder Help Desk. A moving little piece. Full of depth.
Moving indeed.
Yeah. Yeah, it was called Grinder Help Desk. And just as a note, we do have legal rights to do and to talk about Grinder since it's a dating app. I sort of avoided the app the entire summer, I have to say. Though I'm a single man right now, I did avoid it. I was like, I don't want to be a part of that culture and also sing about it.
Right.
You know?
Could you tell us a little bit about the show, though?
Yes. So Grinder Help Desk is it's a fictitious help desk, a call-in, a helpline for Grinder. And there's only one person working for the office in this sort of underground basement of a call center based building. And Candice is the help desk. She helps callers with help on their profiles, on their love life, on their compatibilities with each other, with their different demographics. And Candice is an aspiring drag queen, not a polished one, and yet to be on stage. And so we sort of learned that during the show. And so we get introduced to Candice out of drag. And then during the show, she gets into drag because she has her first performance that evening.
Did you enjoy putting on the drag?
It was a lot. It was a real eye-opener. I had never actually been in drag ever before. I've been many a character, many a mythical character, but I've never actually been a drag queen. And I was actually very nervous about doing a show, especially with the center point is all about drag, because I had no experience. I have friends. I have an absolute love and respect for drag, but I had never donned the heels. Maybe a Cuban boot, but never a heel, or a wig that gets you closer to God. And so I did, when I was initially approached about this, I kind of almost said no, only because I thought it was kind of disrespectful to some degree, because there are so many incredible, talented drag queens, especially in Provincetown and in New York and in Massachusetts in general. And I thought I was going to slightly taking a job away from somebody. But the whole premise was the fact that Candice is a novice and is brand new to the world. And they wanted somebody who didn't have an identity in drag already.
Interesting.
I said yes and did a lot of research. Watched a lot of drag, went to many a brunch, My liver did not survive that period of
Sorry.
research. And the thing is, the best thing about it was the community, especially in New York and in Massachusetts, really embraced me and helped me because I just asked for help,
Yeah.
and they really gave it. And there's a list of drag queens that I could tell you that were, monumentals about how I became Candice and how Candice looked and how she behaved because of all those incredible professional drag artists that really helped me, and I can't thank them enough. And Provincetown, I was just like, this is the first time I was ever in Provincetown as well. I When they said it's a gay town, a queer town, well, I wasn't ready for it. I don't think. I'm a little Welsh boy from West Wales, from farming land. And although I've lived in London and New York and LA and things like that, I had never experienced anything like it. And I cannot wait to go back.
I was going to say there's not really an equivalent in the UK of that, right?
No,
It's
there used to be. Like Brighton was a massive hub for queer culture, especially for drag and young gay men. But like everything, wherever the gays go, the rest follow. And so everybody got priced out. It used to be a very bohemian
Sure.
town, and it sort of doesn't exist anymore. I mean, the punch in the face that Provincetown gives you when you first arrive.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty shocking, actually.
And also just the amount of incredible drag for globally, and everybody, it could be a bit cutthroat, but actually everybody was lovely and very supportive. And if anybody sort of stood out as sort of a negative Nancy, they would be put in their place because it was very much about inclusion and about support. And
Right.
I'd very much felt it, and whatever felt, I gave back, and I think that's how it thrives. Again, I didn't know this at the time, but there was a culture of a townie night, which is all the locals come and see your show for free. Um, and that's the most important night of selling our show in P Town, because if they approve, then you're going to be fine. If they do not approve, they'll go out of their way to say how bad it is. I was very lucky. I was very fortunate.
Yeah.
And I think I had a bit of an ace in my pack because I had Raquel Blake, who's a drag queen who is a drag queen in Dallas, but comes to P Town every year and has a residency there. And she did my makeup. And that was because there was no way I was ever going to learn how to do makeup. I know how to do, a little bit of touch-ups now and again, but full lashes and, getting rid of the beard and getting hair and everything, it was all down to her. And she is adored and loved by everybody in P-Town. And so I think that kind of helped.
Lovely.
So she designed the makeup and then you did it on stage
Yeah, so
yourself?
I had a couple of
Or session?
ideas, and the producers had a couple of ideas, and then so with her style and what we were sort of they were kind of polar opposites to begin with, and then it was just a nice marriage then in the middle,
Mm.
um, and it was kind of like that pop princess, but has aged a little,
Mm.
um, because I'm no spring chicken, and neither should Candice be or pretend to be. So yeah, and even the makeup sort of developed over the summer, over the months. Um, but the minute she put it on for the very first time, I trusted her, um, and it just went from strength to strength. And then a drag queen called Kira Stone. Again, I can't do wig prep. It's an art form in itself and
Oh yeah.
incredible. Um, weaving in different wigs together to make volume and to make size and to make it effortless and it not move. Uh, and like a helmet. And I had Kira Stone, who's a local drag queen, a local talent, doing that as well. And again, we sort of played with colors, and then we finally went with sort of this lavender,
Oh.
pinkish sort of number, which sort of, yeah, Candice, Candy, pop.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah. And I was a, I was a closeted homosexual growing up who on the, quiet listened to Britney and to Christina, and to Celine Dion and Whitney Houston, and the Spice Girls was the worst one because no boy could like the Spice Girls. And there I was with my very first Spice Girls album. And
Which
so she
Spice Girl
gave,
were you?
Oh,
Were you
you
one of?
just you took the words right out of my mouth, Christy.
You're right.
I was definitely sporty. I wanted to be
Yes.
baby, but I was
Oh,
sporty
yeah.
because an ex-competitive gymnast. And so
Oh,
the minute she was
solid.
doing the flips and the kicks and everything, I was like, yep, yeah, that's me.
Yeah.
She's
I can see it.
representing me.
Lion King. Did you do a British tour or did you do a
It was an international tour, so it was, yeah, UK, Ireland, Scandinavian, and it was the longest contract I've ever done. It was like almost, yeah, it was a year and a half, 2 years. And I still love the show. And I will put that down and I'll mark it down. And I suggest and I urge everybody go and see it. If you haven't, you should, because the artistry, the puppetry is still ingenious. But it takes a toll on your body. It's very physical. I played various different roles throughout the year and a half. I played Ed, which was the crazy hyena, Zazu, which is the bird,
yeah,
and then Timon, the meerkat. And each are very different and each ask for something very different physically. And so when they came to the point of extending, staying on with the show, I pulled myself out because it's just hard. It's hard
yeah.
work,
I
and
can,
8 shows a week.
Intensive makeup again. Another
Yes,
show with
yes.
intensive.
I wasn't new to makeup and layers of makeup, but yeah, it's your skin does not thank you for it. And so I was very lucky to have a very good dermatologist who helped me keep safe and healthy and hydrated throughout the entire thing. But I loved it. It was a great experience, and I would do it all over again. Rehearsals was 2 months solid to do it, and it was all about characterization and about where the gaze goes, and to ensure like if you're looking through the puppet's eyes, then the audience are looking at the puppet's eyes. If
Mm.
you're looking around, they're looking at you as an actor, not um, as the
mm,
character. And as simple as it sounds, it's very challenging to master
yeah.
because you just want to be all about you. Which is then why I did, Grinder Help Desk because Candice was all about her. There was nobody else there.
Is it animal drag? Maybe?
Yeah, yeah. I haven't seen it on RuPaul yet, but I should next season.
All of the drag queens on the RuPaul show all look like some kind of shocking creature or animal from some other place. They're done up in these most amazing ways.
Yeah, it's pure artistry now. Like I remember as a very, again, closeted, shy little gay boy in Wales, there was my nearest town where there would be a gay bar or sort of where a drag queen would perform was in a place called Swansea, which is still about an hour and a bit away from me. And seeing a drag queen then and what they've advanced and developed into now is two different worlds. And it was all about humor, that you had to be essentially a comedian, because it was never about your look and it was about your ability to be on stage and just um, target people.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, as a young man, I wasn't particularly. I know this is hard to imagine, but I wasn't very attractive. And my first incident with a drag queen in Swansea was she just brutalized me and she just attacked. And you're just sitting there accepting it. And inside I'm like in full tears. And then I run out and then I go home and I don't come back. That was also my apprehension getting into drag was because of those old feelings of how a performer made me feel. And I
Mm.
never wanted that. And so it was a while before I got into enjoying drag artistry and shows and things like that. And that's when I moved to America back in 2013.
What work did you do in LA? What was your
Uh,
favorite?
I was with Disney again, and I did Alice Through the Looking Glass, the sequel to Tim Burton's Alice in Wonderland. I was a digital character, so a lot of voiceover work and a lot of green screen, and a lot of me looking like a blue condom, because that's how they did it. And then Helena Bonham Carter looking beautiful, and then us in a blue condom. It was a welcoming experience. Again, I mostly done theatre in the UK, and so it was my first major movie, and absolutely loved it. And then got to live a dream, which was to work with David Lynch in Twin Peaks, and we kept in touch. He does with everybody that he works with. He was an incredible human, an incredible artist and visionary. With this, like, there was no ego. You weren't allowed to bring phones or personal assistants because, like, there's so many A-listers wanting to work with him, and everybody got treated exactly the same. Um, and to some, that was, challenging and an adjustment, and to the rest of us, it was just refreshing.
And do you think
Yeah.
you'll do drag again then?
Yes. Again, I don't think I could ever do it by myself.
Mm.
I would need a team of people who could really help me because makeup, again, the standard that you need to have in
Mhm.
today's drag world is, I mean, there's is second to none. I just wouldn't be able to get even close. But yeah, it's true. Putting a wig and putting that sort of the makeup and dress um and the heels, it sort of does kind of change you. It brings out a different kind of confidence in you. But the biggest thing that I had initially had a challenge with was being on the street in drag, but stepping out onto the street in full garb and having people, you know, look at whether it's through joy, through the lens of, you know, confusion, or discrimination. You have to put yourself out there to allow all of that.
One of the things that I wanted to ask you was, do you think that the general attitude that's happening in America right now will affect P-Town at all next summer?
I think P-Town will stay strong and it will, like many communities, come together and really cling on together. Um, I just think the unfortunate thing is that people now feel they have a voice, an ability, a right to hurl abuse and to be abusive, and it doesn't matter what space you're in, they feel
Mhm.
like they are allowed to come into it. Whereas before they would just ignore it and be like, well, that sounds gay. I'm not going to be dealing with that. But now people are actively wanting to attack, whether it's emotionally, verbally, physically. That's where it becomes scary. Yeah, I just fear for the people who feel like they're allowed to do whatever they want. And they are given a platform because they can see others doing it, their leaders are doing it. And it's terrifying. And unfortunately, it's terrifying because it bleeds into other cultures and communities. It'll be over here soon enough if it continues down this road. And the end of the day, it's just based down on fear of the unknown. It's taught. We're not born with fear. We're not born with discriminative thoughts or actions, and it's always taught. And if we can get a lid on the fears that we have as as communities and just be open about them and not be slandered for it, maybe we could be a bit better and get on.
It seems so simple to say, and you just saying that, I mean, I know that that really comes from your heart, but there is definitely a drive in this country to take, and I don't know, sometimes they say, the weakest groups. Well, they're not fooling with a weak group when they talk about, people in
No.
drag,
Again, like they say, hatred and discrimination has been thrown at the community since day one
yes.
of the new world. Um, and we've always fought back. And we've always able to thrive, and it will happen again. It's just I just can't believe that these roadblocks keep coming through, and some of them get taller than others, and then they get knocked down. And I just think that we just don't need those roadblocks. We don't want to leave people out, but people fear us and various demographics because it's unknown to them. And instead of asking and talking about it, they will put that mask back on and put it into anger and just be violent.
If there's one word that you think that the Brits think about what's happening in America, what would it be right now?
I want to believe that they just think that America is idiotic. But I feel and I fear that they are looking at it as an example of going, oh yeah, I can, oh, I feel that way as well. I think I'll, step up and start being angry and show my anger and show my hatred to things. The first Trump administration created um, non-factual fact that opinion is fact. Facts aren't true. Research isn't true. But what I think in my head, that's fact, based on nothing. And that's happening here. If we could eradicate that to begin with, that would be brilliant.
Yeah.
I think some of it comes back to, too, that when the internet first came into being, and there were a lot of people saying, I don't think the average human can actually handle this. And most of us said, what are you talking about? I'm going to look up a recipe. I'm going to look up what my friend's doing down the street. And that, this is great. It's connecting everyone. And I don't have to have an encyclopedia anymore in my house. I can have it right on the computer. But I think really, maybe in retrospect, maybe we can't. Maybe we just can't, because we've turned it into, now I'm an expert about everything. I can be if I want to. I can just type in, my research is as good as your research. You might be an expert and I'm a keyboard warrior, but now I believe I have access to everything I want, and I think I can discern what's real and what's not, and then I can decide.
Yeah. Fiction is becoming reality. Or people are turning fiction into reality.
That's it. Yeah.
Um,
That's it.
because they're picking and choosing whatever their sources are, and picking what's working for them and then putting that out. And if you put it on X, Twitter, or Facebook, or put an article even on Wikipedia, like it's there in black and white, and people will read it and just presume that it's true. There's a lot of people who go, oh, it's not going to be that, the first Trump administration wasn't that bad. And it's like, yeah, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't great. There was a couple of things that really ruined, millions of people's lives, but this time they were like, it's going to be the exact same thing, a little blip. And this first 2 weeks has like spiraled to unimaginable depths, and that was somebody told me it's like it's easy to erase something. It's much harder to bring it back into reality. Political party that comes in after, if they do, I'm hoping do, have faith in that, but they will be looked upon to really work hard to try and rectify all of the problems that were put before them. And it'll take, years and decades, but people think, well, you need to do it now. And it's not how the world works. It's happening here with our progressive Labour is in power. And people are attacking them saying, well, you said you were going to do this, 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 and this, and you haven't. And you're like, it's going to take 4, 8, 12 years to get that into plan, to build up finances, to build relationships, to build security. And yeah, people are so quick to judge when it's not happening right now.
Mm.
Which unfortunately, we are accessible to with, social media and things like that. People want it straight away.
Well, thank you for spending this time with us.
Oh, it's absolutely lovely. Thanks for inviting me on.
If folks want to follow you, check out what you're doing next, do you want to give us your website? I know you have a website and
I have a website, which, yeah, owenrhysdavies.com. Yeah, unfortunately, I still have my socials. Fighting against it, but Instagram,
same.
Owain R, the letter R, Davis. Um, and yeah, just Google me. There are terrible photos up there of me on the red carpet, not knowing what I'm doing. Um, no, so just yeah, and hopefully I'll be in a town, city, area near you soon.
Yes, I hope so. I hope so. Well, thank you so much for being here with
Well,
us.
thank you for having me. Honestly, absolute pleasure.
What a lovely human, Larry. Thank you so much for introducing us to him.
Yeah, he is. He's a very special person. He's done a lot of amazing things in his career, and I think he's just incredibly out there in terms of his emotions, which is not always English.
Sure.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, you could just tell he embraces whatever it is that's in front of him wholeheartedly. There's no question about it. And he mentioned so many different kinds of roles and so many different kinds of projects, film and stage and all kinds of things. And you can just tell he goes full throttle.
Yeah, yeah, he does. And I think it was very brave of him to do the show that he did this summer because, you're dealing with a bunch of pros in that city. He's just a good soul. Nice to find those people.
So we had two semi big things happen in the arts. One of the two things is we may be getting a new chair of the Kennedy Center, was one. And then the National Endowment for the Arts just updated their grant requirements, both of which are a little shocking.
Right.
It's been an interesting couple of weeks in the arts community here.
Well, I did understand from some of my reading today that even though he has made himself the head of the Kennedy Center, he's actually never seen a show at the Kennedy Center. So as he keeps talking about not wanting to do no more drag shows and all these things, I mean, he's never seen a show there.
Right.
This is just this spewing of garbage that really hurts artists. I guess there will be no form of people's individuality or creativity that will be allowed to go unscathed by his venom.
Yeah.
I did feel very guided by DEI and for a positive way, but sometimes I did feel it was a little overbearing because it made you work. You had to think about it. But the way you're going to have to think about making a proposal for a new grant, it's not the way that my mind works.
Right. It's not the way we've trained ourselves to think anymore.
They know that the artists are the ones that aren't afraid to say what needs to be said. They know that we're the ones that present it in a palatable way or not so palatable as the case may be, but in a way that it can be consumed by the rest of the country and then used as empowerment. So I'm a little scared that this time they made business about that because they do know they have to. Doesn't mean
Well,
we change anything about what we're doing. I'm just afraid that that's now they're
yeah,
going to start realizing that they need to silence people.
yeah, or entice them with funding to speak in a specific way.
Right.
Grants for propaganda.
I mean,
Yeah.
ultimately.
Yeah.
I don't have any problem with being patriotic. I love that I live here. But
Same. I've often in the last few months said I wish the Democrats could, not even Democrats, but the liberals could reclaim patriotism because we are. We
Right.
want what's best for this. We love this country and we
Yeah.
want what's best for it, but we're told we're not.
Right.
well, I mean, I think that we're very patriotic because, just because we want to be inclusive and diverse doesn't mean we're not patriotic and
Right.
doesn't mean that we're not sickening sweet about, talking about how gorgeous and wonderful America is. You know, as artists, we address the concerns of the world through drama. And, you know, and that's what we're supposed to do. And they can try and stop us, but they're not going to stop us.
No, I mean, the most patriotic thing about America, or the most patriotic way to be an American, is to embrace the diversity of our country. That's the whole point of our country, was multicultural people coming together. You know,
Well, it will be anyway. It'll continue that way. Really, what can we do except as artists keep using our voice?
Yep. And we will continue to do so.
I love Dangerous Drag Queens and Other Deviants.
Me too. Catch us again next month.
Okay, thanks, Christy. Thank you, Grat.
see you, everybody. Thanks again.
Bye.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to Dangerous Drag Queens and Other Deviants, as well as Virtual Arts on Facebook, Instagram, X, and YouTube. And be sure to check us out at www.virtualartsproductions.org for all our latest projects.
And if you like what you hear, please share it with a friend. That's all for now. Keep living dangerously and on your own terms.